Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story, which comes from DiabeticBridesmaid and says, am I the a-hole for refusing to remove my medical equipment during my sister's wedding? My sister is getting married next week and I'm a bridesmaid. I'm a type 1 diabetic and I wear two medical devices, a Dexcom blood sugar monitor on one arm and an Omnipod insulin pump on the other. They're both really small, under 2 inches each, and work together to automatically monitor and regulate my blood sugar levels. This basically means I don't have to prick my fingers to test blood sugar or give myself insulin injections. The system does that automatically and makes my life way easier. Today, when we're trying on our dresses, my sister told me she wants me to not wear them during the wedding because the gowns are sleeveless and the devices will look ugly in the photos. I told her I wasn't okay removing them. They are essential medical equipment and I'm not going to put myself in a position to affect my health just for some photos. My sister complained to our mother and some of our friends, and they're all taking her side. They say it's no big deal if I just don't wear them during the wedding, but I don't see why I should. Mum suggested I could move them to my stomach, but I've tried that before and find it incredibly uncomfortable. When I put a new sensor on, I'm stuck with it for 10 days until it expires and I can switch to a new one. And I don't want to be stuck with one on my stomach where it will bother me the entire time. They are all complaining that I'm not willing to compromise at all, but I don't think my health should be an area where anyone can ask that I compromise at all. Am I the a-hole? And just a bit of additional information about the packs that says you can't just move them or take them off temporarily. You have to keep them in place until they expire. I know someone who was, and I mentioned it a little while ago, that before Christmas was diagnosed like in adult life with type 1 diabetes. And at first it was the finger pricking 4 times a day, like monitoring everything that you eat so you can balance it with insulin. Like with the finger pricks and the insulin, it was a minimum of 6 times a day injection kind of things. And the alarm going off telling you that you're too low, you're too high. And the person that I know was also told that they was in like sort of like almost like a honeymoon period with their pancreas. It was still producing some insulin, but not enough. And it was like sort of up and down all the time. So the amount of monitoring, the amount of changing had to be done was just like absolutely draining, and still is. They now have a Dexcom themselves, and they like this post says, they have to change it every 10 days. And sometimes, you know, the sensor, it fails, so you have to change it straight away. It is just completely life-changing. So for your sister wanting you to compromise on your health for her pictures, fuck that. And for me personally in this is very much from a personal point of view. I never understand why people want these things changed in pictures. You know, people want their tattoos removed or whatever in their wedding photos or whatever it is. Because for me, when I have a photo, I want the real person. I want who they are, their character, all about them in that photo, because that's the memory. And for the family to be backing this kind of attitude up as well is just bizarre to me. And in some ways, I also feel like, and OP is just put in a ridiculous situation here as well. Let's come up with a hypothetical situation. I know it doesn't help anything, but OP doesn't wear their pump. They don't wear their monitoring device. So they have no way of monitoring their sugars. Say they go really low and OP passes out from a DKA. I bet they would still get the blame for ruining the wedding then. I just find the request insane. But that shy gal says, not the a-hole. Promptly decline the invitation to attend if your sister cares more about her aesthetic wants than your medical needs. Agitated Law replies that saying, jumping onto the top comment. As someone with both a Dexcom and Omnipod, I've worn them on my arms to some super formal events. I've decorated the Omnipod with rhinestones glitter and a marker as well. I have a little more upper arm than I would like, but I'm able to hide the sensor toward the back of my arm. I've also worn Omnipod on my thigh. Regardless, don't commit to wearing the Dexcom anywhere but your arm, because the 10-day thing sucks. Tangerine Librarian says, not the a-hole. Your sister's photographer can edit the devices out of the photos if she is really so bothered by their appearance. But as they literally help you stay alive and healthy, it's unreasonable and dangerous to ask you to remove them. I can't believe all your family would rather you get sick or be physically uncomfortable for days just so your sister can have pretty photos. I'm so sorry. You deserve more respect and empathy. Amish Angst says, not the a-hole. How absolutely vapid and shallow and just downright selfish. And your mum and friends agree with her. How on earth do you have so many horrible people in your life? I hate this trend of perfectly curated photo shoots to erase reality. Photos should show what is, and there's nothing wrong with what is. Snack Girl says, I don't even get all this good picture nonsense. To me, a good picture is an honest picture. I'd like to see my family and friends as they are, because that's why I love them. Why would I want them to fake their health or personality, so that I can look at those pictures and have no stories to tell? I like to be reminded of that quirky aunt who loves to wear red, of that friend who made it although they broke her leg and had a hard time walking, or of the niece who rocked her feeding tube by including it as part of the outfit, etc. That's the stories you'll cherish in the end. Pictures should remind you of your own stories in a good time, not mimic a TV moment some teenage author made up. Nicotine Knack says, not the a-hole. I'm not diabetic, but I've seen firsthand how fickle blood sugars can be, especially in type 1 diabetics. I'm a nurse. I'm saddened that your family and friends do not realize how much this could affect you. Would stand your ground and do what you feel you need to do for your health. A wedding is to celebrate the couple. While nice pictures are great, you wouldn't be the star of the photographs anyhow, and honestly, who cares about an insulin pump ruining photos? It won't ruin any photos. And one more comment from Braille Not Included, who says, not the a-hole. People should accept you as you are. You didn't ask for diabetes. I think that is a positive thing that you are comfortable with your devices and aren't worried about them showing. My son was so psyched when he saw a CGM on one of the girls in Turning Red. He doesn't see people like him often, and I think it would be really nice if others could show it's not something you have to hide or be ashamed of. Perhaps a compromise is getting a nice looking cover sticker that goes around the Dexcom. Other than that, I hope they can understand the trouble it causes to have to change sites and placements to somewhere the devices could be bumped off during wedding type activities. Then OP updates the post and says, oh my god, thank you so much to everyone for the responses. I didn't expect this post to blow up the way it did at all. So I have an update for everyone. I didn't want to involve others hoping to settle this between myself and my mum/sister. But my brother got wind of what happened last night and absolutely tore my mum and sister a new one about how hurtful it was to suggest I go without my devices just for our wedding photos. He then told my grandfather, who was paying for the wedding. Grandpa apparently drove an hour into the town this afternoon just to tell my mother how disappointed he was and that he must have gone wrong somewhere raising her. He told her that if they didn't apologize and make things right, my mum should figure out how to pay for all of the outstanding wedding costs herself. Now, I do think this was a bit extreme. I wasn't looking to cause this much trouble for my mum and sister, but it seems to have worked because they called me to apologize and say it was wrong of them to suggest I just go without my monitor and pump, and we can find a way to dress it up instead. I accepted their apologies. We decided to try wearing flower corsages over each device so they can't be seen. If that doesn't work, we can try a shawl, as many of you suggested. Again, thank you for all the support. I'll be giving my grandpa a big hug and buying my little brother dinner tonight as a thank you for having my back on this. Maybe it seems minor to some, but it was really upsetting to me that my own family turned on me when it came to my own health. So it was really a big deal to me that they unconditionally supported me when my mum and sister wouldn't. OP adds one more comment below which says, they're really not bad people. I think they just really got caught up in the wedding. They've both practically been planning it full time for months now. Not that I'm excusing their behavior, but it doesn't seem like they're holding on to whatever problem they originally had. Happy to report that the wedding went well. The bridesmaids all wore corsages, so we matched. And I'm really glad to see that brother and grandpa had OP's back in this, but I still can't help but feel just a little bummed out by that update. And they may have changed their attitude, they may be genuinely sorry, but it just felt like because grandma was going to withdraw the funds that they suddenly panicked and said, oh, we best apologize for it. They still wanted to cover up the medical device, and there was, like some of the other comments says, the option for them to just use the photographer to edit them out of the photos afterwards if they really want to. That still doesn't feel quite right to me. I'm not sure if I'm right in saying that or not, but personally, that doesn't feel right to me. But it's a real simple process of removing those. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Our next story comes from the Am I the A-hole subreddit from Impossible Ad 6003 and asks, am I the a-hole for wanting my sister to pay me back because my nephew lost my electric scooter? Last year I bought an eMove Cruiser electric scooter, which I've since modified to add more speed, a new handlebar and some other mods. The scooter itself was not cheap, at $1,500 plus mods puts it over $2,000. I have a sister, 43 female, and a nephew, 13 male, who I always let house sit for me while I'm out of town on business. I have pets and plants that I need taken care of, and they always welcome a change of scenery, so I had to go on a business trip last month for a week and let them house sit. My nephew has always asked me about my scooter. I told him that it isn't for kids because it's extremely fast and I've expressly forbidden him from riding it multiple times. His mother knows about this as well. Well, I come back from my trip and my sister tells me that I'm going to be mad, but my nephew took my scooter out, left it unattended, and had it stolen. I was fucking pissed and asked them to leave. I told them they'd have to replace it, and my sister pleaded with me they couldn't afford it, it was a mistake, and that he could just do chores around my house to pay me back. I told her that it doesn't replace my scooter. She said that any money would have to come from their vacation fund. I said, tough shit. Our parents have gotten involved and said that I'm taking it too far. They agree that my nephew should be punished and I should be paid back. But to take away their family vacation is just cruel and petty. They suggested a payment plan. I told them no, hell no, that I use my scooter to commute to work often and that I wanted it back immediately. Furthermore, he was warned to not ride it since it's dangerous. Now that I've started to calm down a little, I'm wondering if I'm the a-hole here by being so demanding and potentially punishing everyone else for my nephew's mistake. A commenter asks OP, they say, info, do you have the money necessary to replace the scooter on your own? If you do, I think a payment plan is fair. If not, how much spare income could you spare towards a replacement? You could have them cover what you can't since you need it to get to work and have a payment plan to pay off the rest. OP says, sure, I have the extra cash, but that's not really it. It's more about the principle of the matter. I put a lot of time, effort and money into that scooter and I told him no multiple times. Plus his mum enabled him by letting him take it out. Not to mention is how I commute to work 70% of the time. I own a car which I have been using since, but I like the scooter because it's eco-friendly and more fun to ride. Admittedly, I am being petty not taking the payment plan, but I want them, particularly my nephew, to understand consequences. But maybe that's not the best option here. Edit to add, and the biggest thing here, and the reason I forbid him from riding it in the first place, is that it's dangerous. You have to have experience riding these things and they go very fast. Not to mention that I modified it so it goes even faster. There are far safer scooters out there for teenagers, and I was thinking of getting him one for his birthday in the summer. Luxes says, info, you keep saying you let them house sit and take care of your plants and animals, as if you were the one doing them a favor. It's really weird. They're the ones putting their time and money into house sitting for you, saving you money on making other arrangements. Will you at least account for this? OP says, Sis and her family live in a not so great neighborhood in a smaller house. I live in a bigger house by myself in a neighborhood that's closer to my nephew's school. They look forward to house sitting because they love my house, the neighborhood, the dogs love them, and they get to use my pool. In fact, they always look forward to me going on trips because they consider it a mini vacation. I don't pay my sister. She's turned it down multiple times. They do have free run of the house while I'm gone, and I do leave a lot of money for their meals. BR says in quotes, she said that any money would have to come from their vacation fund, and says if replacing a scooter meant they'd have to use money reserved for basic necessities, rent or mortgage, food, utilities, then I'd say you may want to reconsider the payment plan option. But if they're upset because they can't take a vacation this year because of this, then tough shit, not the a-hole. Necessary feature says not the a-hole, repaying you comes before a vacation. You need it to commute to work. Their neglect caused it to be stolen, so they need to face the consequences, especially since it was expressly forbidden that he ride it. Joyce the Pig says, I highly doubt it was neglect. I think it was theft. He took it out and left it unattended. Like, how does that make sense? He took it out to his little friends. If he just wanted to ride it like he said, then that's what he would have done. Instead, he rode it to somewhere and left it. Where did he go? The park, an office, a movie? People bring bikes to stores all the time. Protecting or locking up your vehicle is as common sense as locking your door. Does he have a habit of leaving your door unlocked when he's house sitting? It doesn't make any sense. If it was his, maybe he forgot because he's used to it, but no, it's a special occasion. Bullshit. I promise you, he knows who has it. This is just a story about the boy who saw his uncle's toy collection, googled their prices and stole them to sell them. This isn't an innocent mistake. Oh yeah, I remember that story. Was that the Boba Fett figure that was stolen? Inked Ally says, not the a-hole, family vacation is luxury. They can skip a year to teach their kid a lesson and to learn a lesson of their own. Have an insurance. even though the insurance possibly wouldn't pay in this situation because the kid isn't that young anymore. It's not like you have to cut their food or everyday life to pay you. And one more comment from Lime, who says, I don't understand the "you're the a-hole" votes. I knew better than to steal other people's vehicles at the age of 13. Your sister is an a-hole for enabling your nephew to steal your property, and she has a lot of gall to suggest paying back in chores. Actions have consequences. They're lucky you didn't call the cops. They're lucky their son wasn't injured. And also, payment plans are bullshit. They will not pay you back. They can skip vacation for a year. Not the a-hole. Now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to one more story from MDR739, who says, am I the a-hole for not allowing my son to go to his school dance? My husband, 51 male, and I, 48 female, have 6 children. Whew. 19 male, 16 female, 14 female, 13 male, 11 male, plus 5 female. Our 16-year-old Gianna is in junior high school, and our son Riker, 13, is in 7th grade. The kids are starting to have their school dances. The 7th grade dance is later this month, and the junior banquet is in early May. We've gone shopping for dress clothes for all the dances. We bought Gianna's dress a few weeks ago. Gianna has usually been a good kid throughout her life. The school year has been slightly harder than others though. Around 2 months ago, we got a call from Gianna's choir teacher saying that Gianna and a few other altos were making racist jokes about some of the new pieces she introduced, including an Urdu song and a song from Honduras. We talked to Gianna about her actions, and we made her write an apology to her teacher as well as write a 5-paragraph essay on why it's important to respect music from other cultures. Riker has a friend from his baseball team who is Honduran. He was born here, but his mum was born in Honduras and his dad is mixed. When Riker heard about this, he was quite mad and asked if he could have his friend come over and teach her about the culture there. We allowed this, and he came over with his parents and they made food, and Riker and his friend talked about sports and music there. Gianna was very clearly not enjoying it, but we made her engage anyways. Our daughter and a group of friends, including her boyfriend, got in trouble last week for making racist jokes again. We took her phone to investigate to see where this hatred could be coming from. Riker had his friends over for a sleepover the night we found out about this. During dinner, the boys were talking about how their coach would never let them live through it if they bullied a kid or made racist jokes. My husband and I tried helping guide them through their feelings, like asking them about the diverse athletes they liked. Gianna was hanging out with friends at the mall that night, some of whom were doing dress shopping for the upcoming dance. Our son and the boys decided to use this as an opportunity to trash the dress, using mud, drinks, and cutting a few holes in the dress. We found out when Gianna came home, entered her room, and saw the dress. The boys were laughing, and Riker said they did it because Gianna didn't deserve to go to the banquet, and said how there could be kids that looked like his Honduran friend. We told Riker we were trying our best to educate her in a very white town. We're also white. We told him that this was the wrong way to take out his anger, and that as a result, he couldn't go to his 7th grade dance. Riker told us to shut up and spent the rest of his night in his room with the boys. Riker texted my parents and siblings as well as my in-laws. A few have called us and came to his defense, saying that he's just a kid who's trying to cope with his anger. Now we're unsure if we're in the wrong. Am I the a-hole? Snoo Joke says, you're the a-hole. I don't understand how destroying a dress is coming with a bigger punishment than getting in trouble for racism. Twice. What he did was wrong, but the fact that your sister is still getting to go to her dance and out with friends also seems like the wrong response. I can understand why he's angry. Breathe Music says, slight, you're the a-hole. His punishment does seem more severe than hers, given that she is a repeat offender, and he is reacting to racism in his own home. Why is she still allowed to go to her dance given her behavior? You're educating her without any serious consequences, but you're punishing him without any real education. Berrykin says you're the a-hole. An appropriate punishment would be making him pay back the cost of the dress / a new one, but I honestly wouldn't punish him. I'd explain how he did it was wrong, but you're proud of him for sticking up for his friends against a racist sister. And you're the arsehole for even allowing your daughter to still go to the dance. Obviously, whatever you're doing with your racist daughter isn't changing her mind. Maybe take a look at yourself and how you contributed to raising a racist. And one more comment from Magda, who says, I don't know if you're the a-hole, but you definitely need to recalibrate the consequences you dish out to your kids. Your son trashed valuable property of another person. He definitely deserves punishment, and forbidding him from going to the dance may be it. But by her racist behavior, your daughter trashed dignity of another human being. That's magnitudes worse than destroying even the most valuable thing. She got a writing assignment and a cultural exchange dinner, which she obviously didn't give a crap about and learned nothing from, and during which she clearly disrespected your guests and seemingly got no punishment for that. If your son can't go to the dance, then she needs even more severe punishment than that. Now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? As always, I would love to know your thoughts down below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. And some of you guys have been still showing me your hobbies over on Twitter and on the subreddit as well. You truly do some amazing things, so please keep sharing these with me as well. I love to see them. And just a huge thank you once again, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day.